Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Maelstrom Aquaforce deck profile for post-Minerva Rising. This is another one of the encounter decks that we received in the latest Cardfight Vanguard booster set. Maelstrom's always been probably one of the most iconic Aquaforce units out there, so it's only right that it would get the spot for the encounter deck, getting all of the different tier knights, the Aquaroids, you name it, and a bunch of other cards that can just work with the tier dragon lineup we've already had in D format to use. The playstyle is very similar to just being able to use Maelstrom with the multiple attacks you get off in a turn, and I'm very happy with the results of the deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the ride deck, our starter is Officer Cadet Eric. When rode upon, if you want second, draw a card. Our grade 1 is Tier Knight Theo. When your unit is rode upon by a unit with Aquaforce in its clan, search your deck for up to one Blue Storm Armada card, reveal it, put it into your hand, and shuffle your deck. So having a search option for a Blue Storm Armada card just gives you more and more search options, especially for the order, which can help to set up even more units on the field and gain additional power. So this search definitely does come in handy, along with our go-to grade 2 in the deck, which is Marine General of Restless Tides Algos. When rode upon by a unit with only Aquaforce for its clan, look at the top 7 cards of your deck, choose up to one unit card with only Aquaforce for its clan or a tier dragon from among them, call it to rear and shuffle your deck. So having rear guard setup is also very important for the Aquaforce deck. So you have this playstyle to rely on, and you can call out Algos from the drop zone if you use the order we spoke of before. So its rear guard skill is when this unit attacks, if it's the 4th battle of that turn or more, and you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Maelstrom and its card name. To the end of the turn, this unit gets plus 5,000, and when this unit attack hits a Vanguard, you draw a card, having a very similar effect to the original Algos we had when Aquaforce was first released. Our main go-to, grade 3, is Blue Storm Dragon Maelstrom, our boss monster in the deck, so ideally along with the copy in the ride deck. I also want to run 3 more copies. 7, I only have 2. I'm not looking to build Maelstrom. It's actually going to be built by a buddy of mine, so I just have the 1 spot filled in with another Judgment Maelstrom for the placeholder. But with Blue Storm Dragon Maelstrom, on Vanguard once per turn, discard a card from your hand, choose a unit with only Aquaforce or its clan or a tier dragon from your soul, call it to rear guard, and it gets, when this unit attacks, if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, and it's the first battle of this turn, counterblast 1, stand this unit until the end of that turn, you put it into your soul. So this is just another way to make use of cards like Algos in the deck, being able to even just call it out from the soul to a rear guard, which is why we only also just need this 1 copy of Algos, because you can just work with the soul and what you call out, having that immediate pressure, and then can just go back into the soul afterwards. A very powerhouse card unit, and when this unit attacks a Vanguard, if it's the 4th battle of this turn or more, draw a card and choose one of your opponent's rear guards and retire it. That's one of the original effects of Maelstrom to begin with. It was its limit break power, but just made an ordinary skill for the encounter deck for D format. We're also running 4 copies of the Blue Artillery Dragon Inlet Pulse Dragon, a very, very good card. It's been revealed that it's going to be reprinted soon also, so those of you that are looking to get this card will find it much easier, hopefully, to do so. At the end of your turn, if the total number of attacks this turn is 4 or more, you put into your soul and draw a card. It's also a tier dragon, so very useful to combo with Maelstrom for one of the cards when it's put into your soul to call back out again to use. 4 copies just because it has soul build-up power and that use for the draw can take a unit off of your field and then have that draw be a better place in your hand for guards on the following turn. And then the last of the grade 3 is just 2 copies of Shoreline Raised Dragon when this unit attacks, if it's the 4th battle this turn or more. If your order zone has Blue Storm Armada, this unit gets plus 10,000 to end of battle, and at the end of that battle, put this unit in your soul. It's more of a pressure card going off of the fact that you will have the order, since you'll search it off of your Tier Knight Theo, to then activate and make use of this grade 3 if you open it up, having a plus 10,000 power if you Persona Ride, 33k, and then it just goes back into your soul after that. And also being a tier dragon can be another target for Maelstrom to call out. Moving on now to the grade 2s. The only grade 2 I run in the deck is Tidal Assault, one of the best ones in the deck for sure. Just unit-wise overall, it's the only grade 2, so obviously it's the best grade 2. But on rear guard, when this unit attacks, Soul Blast 1, choose one of your Vanguards with Maelstrom and its card name, and it gets plus 5,000 to end of turn. So added pressure for your Maelstrom, but also on rear guard, at the end of the battle this unit attacked, if it's the 2nd battle of this turn, and you have a stood Vanguard with Maelstrom and its card name, counterblast 1, and stand this unit. So Tidal Assault can just help to achieve the 4 attacks that you need to to use with Maelstrom quite easily. If you Persona Ride, you have the additional pressure to attack with Tidal Assault and then restand it and then provide a boost with the unit, or even being able to switch it around with some of the other cards we run in the deck for multiple attacks. One of them being our main go-to, Grade 1, which is Wheel Assault. On rear, at the end of the battle, this unit boosted. If you have a Vanguard with Maelstrom in its card name, use Soul Blast 1, choose 2 of your rear guards and swap their positions. So just any 2 rear guards on the field, you can swap thanks to Wheel Assault after it boosted. So you can have your Tidal Assault just be, one of the back row rear guards, and it can swap positions with another rear guard to gain that additional attack as well. Just remember that it has to be the second battle of the turn for you to gain Tidal Assault skill. So even if it's the second battle, you can then use Wheel Assault and swap with another Grade 3 that might already be in the back row rear guard to then attack with that unit. And I also run 3 copies of Tier Knight Emilios. When this unit is placed on rear, if your other Grade 1 or less rear guard, if you Soul Blast 1, you draw a card, and this unit gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. So just having the option for a draw in the deck is very useful, and an added Grade 1 backup to use for boosted power, depending on what unit you want to attack with. And I also run 2 copies of Prize Trident for countercharge options, because you do counterblast pretty heavily in the deck, with Maelstrom just needing a counterblast as well. For the restand, cards like Tidal Assault, you name it, all these cards will add up for their counterblasts they provide. So having 2 Prize Trident just for the countercharge option. You may even want to increase this card. You can always just drop the number of Emilios that you run for additional copies of Prize Trident if you wish to do so. And then for the Sentinels, I run 3 copies of Custodial Dragon and 1 copy of Elementaria Sanctitude for the Blitz Order option, going up against cards that have triple drive, and then the easy use of not having to discard if you only have 1 card in your hand, thanks to Custodial Dragon. And then for the orders, additionally, I do run 3 copies of Judgment Maelstrom. It is a searchable card. You can just have more and more power with this card. You choose, when it's in the order zone, activate all the effects below. Choose up to 1 unit card with only Aquaforce for its clan or Tier Dragon from your drop zone and call it to rear. Or choose one of your rear guards and it gets plus 5,000 until end of turn for each other Judgment Maelstrom in your order zone. So the more Judgment Maelstrom you activate, the stronger that rear guard that you give power to will be. So if you have them all set up, you can have a plus 15k power if you run the 4 orders altogether. So that one additional one could be swapped out if you wanted to run 4 copies. I know we have the one for the copy of Maelstrom, but you can also just increase the number of the order by taking out some of the other cards in the deck, like reducing Emilios just to a 2F count to begin with. And then the last order just being the 1 Gradius Gradel for the Persona Ride option, if you didn't already Persona Ride that turn, to draw a card and have your front row get plus 10,000 power, thanks to this order counting as just 1 additional Persona Ride. And then for the trigger lineup, going with the 7 critical, I run 4 Dual Pressure Dragon and 3 Abyss Temptation. I just find them to be the most fitting triggers for the Maelstrom deck, just with the aesthetic alone. If you wanted to run the critical with the skill, you can just take out one of these 2 triggers and put in that card. It's player preference there. With our next trigger option being draw triggers, since you're going to have Maelstrom most of the time be the last unit to attack, front triggers really don't have much in the deck, so the draw Lena with the additional 5k shield always does help. And for the heals, 2 copies of the Soul Repose Pixie, 1 copy of Alchemic Hedgehog, and 1 Fairy Asher for the additional lineup for your heals and the additional defensive guard. And lastly, Blessed Favor for the heal power, plus 10 to another unit on the field, and additional critical that it can provide. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy. Once again, Maelstrom was a pretty awesome deck. I'm very happy we got it as the encounter deck of choice for the Minerva Rising booster set. And as always, until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. And Kira Qualia out.